Well, hello. Welcome to another edition of Restore Honor and Integrity to Bensalem. Noticed anything different? I got blessed with some really interesting tech here, and I thought I'd give you a view of something other than my kitchen. I can turn it any way I want. See what I mean? Lots to tell, lots to share, and lots to expose, I guess would be one good way of putting it. So here it goes. I heard at the wonderful Bensalem Township Fall Festival, otherwise known as the on the Mayor's Hiney Festival, a certain district court justice who isn't thrilled with the way things have been going in this town has been urging everybody to vote Democrat. Gee, I wonder why. Well, not only that, but let's see. We have a failing school board. We've got a township council that needs to go. And they're all so scared that guess what? And I'm talking about the township council, mind you. They're so scared right now of anybody coming to them and asking them very deep, very important questions that they've canceled the next two council meetings, and the next one isn't going on until November 18th, I believe. That's a little bit suspicious, don't you think? I think my favorite thing when it comes to that is they do this every time they're faced with being exposed for something. I'm wondering in particular why. I'm trying to make sure I'm wording this right. You see, I'll put it this way. I'm going to read this guest opinion out of the Bucks County Midweek, at least that's what I call it. You know, the Midweek Wire. Very interesting guest opinion in here by a man named Mr. Joe Malloy. He says, I'm writing to urge all of you to vote November 5th. We're faced with a great opportunity to make a change in the government of Bensalem Township. For the past few years, the Republican Party has had exclusive control of both the Township Council and the school board. Now, I'm ad-libbing a little here. The council, he says, likes to brag that they've never raised taxes and they've always balanced the budget properly. They've always submitted a balanced, proper budget. Can we say liar, liar, pants on fire on that one? Every year, at least for the last 3 years that I know of, they have never submitted a balanced budget. I don't call a balanced budget where they've got to go to the township's reserve fund and take money out. And he even says it in here. See, what they're not telling you is that their balanced budgets have seriously depleted what was a considerable surplus in the township accounts. In other words, the reserve fund, they've been going to that for at least the last 3 to 4 years. I'm hearing that this next coming deficit is about $12 million. Not good. So they're claiming all of this, and yet not only is this going on, but also I'd love to ask them what's up with the homeowners rebates, as they're calling it. I have heard from too many to count that their rebate check is only $100 when it was $300, and even that is a little suspicious because it was supposed to be a whole lot more than that. I'm hearing from a lot of concerned homeowners here in this town that this is going on, and I even remember reading in the Courier-Times in a letter to the editor from someone that he was informed through somebody within the township that next year there isn't going to be any. So, is it me, or does this sound like a tax increase? Because it certainly does. They can claim they haven't raised taxes, but to me, when you only get a $100 check back and then next year you're not getting anything, that sounds to me like nothing more than a tax increase. And please don't try to lie and say otherwise, Your Majesty and puppet counsel. Like Mr. Malloy's asking, and I'm asking, what in the world's going to happen when this surplus is gone? Then what's going to happen? Then there's really going to be some nasty increases in taxes. Don't you think? Now, also he says, get a load of the school board. Now look at the school board. From what I hear, their budget's a mess. The test scores are in the toilet. And some of their employees should be in jail. How about all 27 of them that were arrested in this theft for time scandal? This whole property theft situation? They should all be in jail. I know of a certain former chief of Cornwall's fire department who was knee-deep in this. This man only gets house arrest, and he still gets to be a volunteer at Cornwall's fire department. He should have been completely kicked out. And I got a few things to say when it comes to the fire service, but I'm going to wait. He says, bottom line here, despite all this, all these idiots are running for re-election. Yet they're running for re-election. Voters, it's definitely time for a change. Democrats, I am told, hold a plurality among registered voters in Bensalem. So, we can do something about this. He says on November 5th, get out and vote. If you feel you can't get to the polls on November 5th, or if you're a senior citizen, you can cast your vote by absentee ballot, and I highly encourage it. You can either, as he says, contact your committeeman or the Bensalem Democratic Organization for an application. Make sure you do this early to make sure that your ballot is returned in time to be counted. This situation here he says, the situation is grave, and the opportunity is great. The time for action is now. And I agree with you, Mr. Malloy. It is time. It's time that this stops. I don't even want to use the word change. Why do you think I call my whole thing Restore Honor and Integrity to Bensalem? It's time we bring back honor and integrity to this town. I've been living here. I've been blessed to live here since 1999, and I noticed some screwy things. But I thought, okay, I made the mistake of sticking my head in the sand. Not anymore. Especially after I've seen we've got township council that does whatever the mayor wants. Basically, let's put it this way, the mayor thinks he's king, and that Bensalem Township's his personal kingdom. And the council, they're just puppets. And he's got all the right people in who will do whatever he wants. He even is allowing a public safety director who has abused his authority on too many occasions to count. Top of which is that I think he should be investigated on is how he started the paid fire company. There has been numerous concerns in that area. I happen to have a copy of the SAFER grant. It was obtained legally, and I also have evidence to show that there are some questionable things in that SAFER grant that were filled out in there, to the tune of fraudulently filled out. And I think it would be high time that somebody go to the labor board in Philly and inform them of how our director in this township is violating the Fair Labor Standards Practices Act with allowing volunteer firefighters to also serve as paid firefighters within this town. And that is not an exaggeration. That is not a fantasy. It's actually happening. I think somebody needs to do some investigating on that. And I also think that some people need to do some investigating concerning that SAFER grant. Firefighters, Be brave and courageous and go for it. Take it all the way to our state attorney general. I'm sure she'd be willing to listen. As I said again, it's time that we bring back honor and integrity and godliness to this town. The people we've got running it, they're in no way, shape, or form fitting in that category. We've got to send a message, especially to our mayor, that we're not going to tolerate this. One good way, aside from voting straight Democratic when it comes to this, is when it comes especially to him, let's put it this way. Do any of you remember the movie Brewster's Millions? There were two versions. Never got to see the original, but I've seen the wonderful remake with the late Richard Pryor and John Candy. In that one, he is being given $30 million to spend in 30 days, or to spend it in a month. If he does this, he'll inherit 300 plus million. So during his spending spree, he decides, since there's this race going on in New York City for mayor, in light of the fact that both the candidates are complete donkeys and corrupt and sinful as anything, gee, I wonder what that reminds you of. Pardon me. That he's going to found a campaign of his own called None of the Above. And the interesting thing is, it works. Because with this campaign, none of the above wins. And nobody really becomes mayor. Now, I propose not only doing that, but if you want, do this as a write-in. Do this strictly as a write-in. Put in, as write-in, none of the above. Send a message to our mayor. And if you want to get even more direct, make it putting a specific name in. The more of that name that you put in, the less chance he's going to have of being mayor. But I'm telling you, if you do none of the above, I think that'll irk him more than anything. And it will send that message. We've had it. And we want godliness back in this town. Well, that's about it for now. Just want to say, remember to always do what's right. And never be afraid of doing right, because it yields blessings. Have a good one.